Sweet as Cake sets up a story that is very familiar to many people who identify with LGBTQ+ love stories, especially queer women. In this film, we meet Rissa and Melody, two women who have clearly built a bond that runs deeper than friendship, but who have held back their feelings for a long time. The plot centers on desire, hesitation, and the fear of losing someone because of expressing romantic attraction. This is a relatable scenario to countless queer people because, historically, same-gender attraction has often been stigmatized, silenced, or punished. In the opening premise, the narrator addresses the universal ache of wanting someone you shouldn't want, and wondering if it's worth the risk to confess. This question, is it worth the risk, echoes across decades of LGBTQ+ literature and cinema. Rissa and Melody's dynamic exemplifies how deeply closeted or restrained feelings can build tension, longing, and eventually, transformation. In a SFW way, the story of Sweet as Cake can be interpreted as two women finding the courage to finally say what they feel. Melody knows how to make Rissa blush implies an intimacy born of time spent together, a gentle teasing that conveys affection and a power dynamic without needing to be graphic. When Rissa surrenders, it's less about physical surrender than emotional surrender. She lets go of fear, shame, and repression, and finally lets herself experience the love she wants. This mirrors the experience of many LGBTQ+ people who spend years or decades suppressing who they are, only to find relief and freedom when they finally allow themselves to love openly. This scene resonates with lesbian viewers because the situation of delayed confession and fear of rejection is extremely common. Women who grew up without seeing themselves represented positively in media, or who were raised in communities where same-gender love was condemned, will instantly recognize that tension. They will see themselves in Rissa's hesitation, knowing you're in love but afraid to ruin a friendship or be judged harshly. They will also see themselves in Melody's courage, the way she finally takes charge and breaks through the silence. This is often a dynamic in real life too. One partner takes the leap first, opening the door for the other to follow. Heterosexual women can also relate to the themes in Sweet as Cake, because at its core, it's about longing for someone you're not sure you can have, risking vulnerability, and facing social judgment for breaking a taboo. Women across the spectrum of sexual orientations understand the feeling of being told their desires are wrong, too much, or inappropriate. The emotional arc of hiding your feelings, second-guessing yourself, and then finally admitting what you want transcends sexuality. It's a human experience. The film therefore becomes an invitation for all women to empathize with lesbian characters, rather than treating them as other. The second part of your question, why does society hate seeing two girls in love, goes to the heart of representation and cultural resistance. For generations, patriarchal and heteronormative norms dictated that romantic and sexual relationships between women were either invisible, mocked, or fetishized for the male gaze. Loving depictions of lesbians have historically been rare, and when they exist, they often end in tragedy. This reflects how society polices women's sexuality, not just queer women's but women's sexuality in general. Two women in love represent a relationship without a man, and that challenges traditional power dynamics. It also dismantles the idea that a woman's happiness or completeness depends on a male partner. This threat to the established order has led to backlash, censorship, and social disapproval. Sweet as Cake pushes back by centering lesbian desire as tender, mutual, and meaningful. By telling Rissa and Melody's story from their perspective, rather than a voyeuristic one, it normalizes lesbian love as just another form of human connection. It says that women loving women is not a sideshow or a stepping stone, but a destination in itself. The film's narrative of hesitation and confession also invites the audience to think about the cost of silence. In many cultures, especially before recent progress, same-sex relationships were secret out of necessity. This secrecy produced psychological stress, isolation, and longing. Rissa's internal debate, is it worth the risk, is the question every closeted person has asked themselves. When Melody acts, she provides a model of authenticity, showing that taking the risk can be liberating. Another layer of the film is the power of naming your desires. Until you articulate them, they have power over you. Once you say them, you reclaim power. This is a classic coming-out theme. Even though the film frames this as a romantic confession, it also doubles as a metaphor for coming out to oneself and others. The sweetness referenced in the title Sweet as Cake underscores that these desires aren't dirty or shameful. They're as natural as sharing dessert with someone you love. The way the story builds to Melody taking charge without any need to show explicit content models healthy lesbian intimacy. It focuses on emotional stakes, eye contact, confessions, and nervous energy instead of objectifying bodies. This reflects a shift in queer cinema more broadly, away from stereotypes and toward authenticity. Another reason Sweet as Cake resonates is because it offers a happy trajectory, rather than a tragic one. So many lesbian films of the past, from The Children's Hour to Boys Don't Cry, depicted queer women suffering, dying, or being punished. Here, the dramatic tension isn't about violence or punishment, but about internalized shame and the risk of vulnerability. That's progress in storytelling, and it matters for representation. For viewers who have never seen themselves in media, seeing Rissa and Melody affirm each other's feelings can be healing. On a symbolic level, Sweet as Cake also critiques the double standard between male and female desire. Society is more comfortable with men expressing desire openly. Women's desire, especially women desiring other women, has been silenced. By framing Melody as the initiator, the story gives agency to a lesbian character, showing that women's desire can be active, not just receptive. This is empowering for women of all orientations. It suggests that a woman can recognize what she wants and pursue it without shame. The film's tender tone is crucial to its impact. Rather than sensationalizing or moralizing, it presents a soft, relatable scenario. This helps destigmatize lesbian love for mainstream audiences. People who might otherwise be uncomfortable with the concept can see it as simply another form of human connection, built on the same emotions, longing, friendship, risk, confession, that underpin heterosexual love stories. By linking Rissa's and Melody's emotional journey to broader themes of courage and authenticity, the film also points to ongoing struggles in LGBTQ+ culture, such as the tension between private desire and public acceptance, the risk of rejection, and the hope for safe spaces to explore identity. The question, "Can women relate?" is answered in how the film frames this as a universal story of vulnerability. The specifics, two women falling in love, are the vehicle, but the underlying emotional beats, fear of rejection, the courage to confess, the joy of mutual desire, are universal. This is why inclusive representation matters. It shows that lesbian stories aren't niche but human stories. Sweet as Cake may also resonate with younger viewers who are grappling with their own identities. It models that longing for a friend of the same gender is not abnormal or shameful, and that acting on those feelings with mutual consent can lead to fulfillment. In a world where many still face family rejection, bullying, or internalized homophobia, such stories are vital. Finally, the film invites reflection on why society is so invested in suppressing same-gender love. It hints at the deeper fear. Two women together signal autonomy, solidarity, and mutual care outside male control. This is subversive to systems built on women's dependence on men. By centering Rissa and Melody's feelings rather than external punishment, Sweet as Cake normalizes and celebrates queer love instead of pathologizing it. In doing so, it offers a powerful counter-narrative to centuries of shame. All of this, its relatability for lesbians, its resonance for all women, and its critique of society's discomfort with lesbian love, makes Sweet as Cake more than just a soft romance. It's a metaphor for queer liberation and a call for empathy. The story shows that love between women can be sweet, mutual, and transformative, and that the real risk isn't in confessing your feelings, but in never giving yourself the chance to live authentically.